Friends, this is the Case Peanut, and this little guy has a clip point blade of only 1 7/8 inches long and 3/8 inches deep. And my subscribers have asked me to try to sharpen it on my new Hapstone RS fixed blade knife sharpener, and I have accepted the challenge. Now traditionally, I would use a small slipstone on a small blade like this. Here is a Spyderco double stuff I've had for probably 10 years or so, and you can see where I dropped it and broke a chunk off right there. I usually keep this on my coffee table and touch up my EDC knives while I watch YouTube videos on the television. And I also use the Spyderco 4-piece ceramic file set that contains 4 fine grit 5-inch long stones of different shapes. They are really handy, and you can hold them like this and position your thumb and your first finger so as to set your sharpening angle. So you lean the blade up against your finger, and that starts you out, and then if you match how far you overlap with both your thumb and your finger, you'll have equal sharpening angle guides. You know, some companies have come up with little plastic things on their sharpening stones to do that, but you know, us old guys, we just been using our thumb and finger for years. This one here's a slipstone and it has a little groove in it for sharpening your fish hook, so that's pretty cool, huh? And here is a triangle shaped stone and a round one, and there's the slip, and we also have a square one here. So pretty handy. I got them in this little suede pouch, and we're going to keep this round one out because I want to show you something. You ever bought a Spyderco and the spidey hole is a little sharp? Well, you can take this round one, I usually do it on almost every Spyderco I buy, and just kind of put a little chamfer there, but be careful you don't scratch it. I've done that on my military without even noticing it. Alright, so let's put these away and go ahead and break out the Hapstone RS fixed angle knife sharpener. Here she is. And this is a sweet little compact sharpener for sharpening your smaller everyday knives and your average kitchen knives. And we already know it's not the best for knives over 8 inches or so. But what about little knives like the Case Peanut? You think it'll sharpen it okay? Let's find out. And right off the bat, we have our first challenge. This little Case Peanut has a slight recurve to the blade. See it right there? No bueno. So if we use our wide, flat stones, the Spyderco 6-inch stones, they're going to reshape that blade. That's no good. So we're going to have to come up with an alternative. And I think we're going to go with the round file ceramic stone. This is a fine stone, but it should do fine on this small blade. We don't need something really aggressive, but we got to figure out how to mount it. So I'm going to take this arm here that usually holds my 6-inch blades and put this little 5-inch file in here. Alright, now that's going to wiggle around, so we're going to have to cure that. I think we can take one of the 6-inch stones and mount it on the back here. And once we secure that in, that'll keep everything from twisting. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do it the southern way. Alright, except for we're not going to use the good old-fashioned duct tape. We're just going to use some masking tape because that's what I got. Let's go ahead and put a piece around right here. I'll just get it on there. Let me get another piece started on the other end. Help hold everything in place. Right there. Alright, now we can pick it up. And we'll pull everything nice and tight and wrap it. Make sure everything's centered. And let's straighten that out. Rewrap it, pull it tighter. Want as tight as we can get it, that way it keeps it from rocking around. But there we go. Alright, so we should be able to take that and work it on our blade, and now to work inside that recurve without damaging it. Plus, this stone here on the back is going to serve another purpose. It's going to hold our angle finder, because we need a flat place to put that, right? So that should work. Alright, now on to mounting the knife. So the second challenge was mounting the knife. Because of the full flat grind on that little clip blade, it kept wanting to push back towards the clips. I couldn't keep it out front where I needed it. So I took a little piece of this G10 spacer material and pulled it in between the knife and the screws to force the blade further out and keep it out there. Like I said, as I tighten these screws right here, the blade kept wanting to suck in towards them because of the taper of the blade. So that little spacer will keep it from sucking in towards the screws as I tighten it down. And that worked pretty good. Nice and tight now. So now let's see if we can set up our angle. Here's the arm. We just snap it on there like that. And here's our stone. And let's take a look here. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the stone doesn't hit the clamp or the screws, and that we can go from one end of the blade to the other without touching anything. So that's not what's happening. I think we're hitting this tape. So let me trim this tape off the top and see if that gives us enough clearance. Alright, let's see. Yeah, much better. Okay, we're not hitting the clamp. So, but what we got to do is we got to flip this over, and I like to flip it over. I don't like to flip it over with a knife. I reach up there like that. And let's go ahead and cut this tape off the back side here. Get that. Alright, so how are we doing? They're hitting the little screw bolts as they come through the back side right there. So the only thing we can do is raise this tower up and try to get us a little more clearance, because we're not going to be able to push that knife out any further. So let's raise that tower up. Okay, so now we're not hitting. Alright, let's see what kind of angle that gives us. Okay, so we come down here and we're going to set it to 0. There we go. Okay. Put this over here on our blade. Now, I'm not sure exactly how accurate this is, but it should be fairly. Alright, 25. That's pretty steep. You know, I usually like them between 17 and 20, but we're going to have to live with what we get here. Or we're going to have to go back to doing it on the slipstone. So let's just get it as low as we possibly can without hitting the clamp. And whatever that is, which is 24, about 24 and a half on average there. That's just what we're going to have to live with. That's what it's going to be. And I don't know if it's going to hurt anything on this little tiny knife. Such a thin blade anyway. Alright, so put a little pan under here, put a little water on there. Got to be careful with the water. Got a little Dawn in there, but we don't want to get that tape wet or that stone will come off. And then we can just start working it very gently. This is going to be a little different with that round stone. It's going to take a minute to get used to it. Not sure if I want to go back and forth for just one direction, but it's also a little hard with the camera in the way. This is for demonstration. I'll turn the camera off in a minute and get serious on there. But anyway, we worked on it until we got a nice burr. Hopefully you could hear that burr. You can see we got some grit on the towel here. So let's go ahead and flip it over. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. You see I'm not grabbing it by the knife, I'm grabbing it way up there. And let's just go ahead and Wet it down again carefully. Don't need a lot. And let's go ahead and work this side. Get a little bit of support here. And just keep working this side the same way we did the front side until we do the same thing. We get a burr. And then we know we got our angles right. Then we'll start flipping them back and forth. So I'm not going to go through the whole process here. Just going to go over the highlights so you can see the basics of what I did. So now we got the other side here, and same thing. Listen for the burr, feel for the burr. Check it all the way down the blade. Don't just do one spot. Now flip it back over, and I get rid of the burr and just start flipping it over, doing, you know, maybe 4 or 5 strokes each side, and then down to 2 strokes each side. Alright, so as I start getting finished up here, I learned a little trick. Just lay my finger under the blade. That way I don't round the tip. That ceramic stone, it's not going to eat your fingertip off or anything. And you're not going to bounce the knife around, so you're not going to round it. See, look at the grit on my finger. And I can't even feel the stone. The stone just feels smooth. But it supports it, and it doesn't allow you to round the tip. That way you get a nice, clean, sharp tip. So, alright, now we got a nice sharp blade. No burr on it. Make sure you check for a burr and clean that burr off before you take it out, because you don't want to leave anything on there. Alright, so wipe it down, take a look at it, see how it looks. Put something behind it here. Yeah, we didn't scratch up our blade or anything. We got a nice shiny apex. You know, it's not a mirror polish or anything, but we could have went to a superfine. Let's hit it on the strop. You know, maybe 3 or 4 times each side on the compound side, and let's get all the dirt off of it here. It's got a few little pieces of junk stuck, so let's scrape that off. Alright, just working on the clean. I think I'm more worried about the clean side on this knife than I am the compound side. So, once again, not a lot of pressure, just a nice drag. Alright, let's see if it does any better. Okay. If you saw my other film, it had a spot right in the center of the blade that was hanging up. It doesn't seem like it's doing that now. Not getting a clean cut at the tip because of it's a small blade. I gotta get the angle right. So that's on me, that's not on the blade, that little piece there at the end. It's going nice and smooth. And just keep on going, see? Tip's nice and sharp too, I just didn't have the right angle. Alright, so if you liked the video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it to your friends. It's what keeps the channel going. Also, check out my new knife contest. This is a viewer submitted photos. How cool is that? Send me photos to my email. I'll have it up here in a second. And we'll have a contest each month. Who's got the prettiest knife? Alright, viewer submitted photos. Winners chosen by most comments on video. Negative comments are not counted. All makes and designs are eligible for contest. Posting requirements. Email photos to clarbar@icloud.com. Include your subscriber name in the email. That way we know whose photos they belong to. Include at least 4 photos of the knife. The more the better. Now, email must be in by the 15th of the month to be posted in the current month contest. And most importantly, Give me some story. Tell me where you got the knife, how long you had it, any special details. Was it your granddad's? Was it handed down? Maybe you bought it in the Philippines or something. Anyway, include that in there and I'll include it in the video. I'm going to make a cool little video about your knife and I'll post them as they come in. And then the subscribers will vote in the comments. Whoever gets the most comments wins. And I'll put a little prize package together. At first it's going to be pretty much bragging rights, but eventually I want to get to the point that we have a nice little prize package at the end of the month for whoever wins. Okay? So, thanks again for viewing.